Hey, what's going on? We're picking up here with some Pencil Bible Playground stuff. Um, we have this start here message I left. So move the loading logic to a screen that lives in the root navigator. Move loading logic to that file. Oh, okay. Just replicated that. By the way, if you have not watched it yet, I would go to YouTube. Um, and pull up. There are two videos. Um, Playground mode using React Native Redux and React Navigation is a part one, and I'm uploading part two right now. So go ahead and watch that for some more context. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and add this feature, and in order to do that, we have to do these things. So the issue again is that we're using a flag to determine when we are rendering the navigation stuff. And then it's behaving as expected. It's just we're just not doing it correctly. So what we need is to always show this navigator. This is going to be something like um, loading. We're going to go down here. Around stop loading. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to close this for a second. It's not yelling at me. Main auth. I guess it'll be auth. All right, guys, going crazy. What's up, buddy? And inside of here, we're going to need some things. Export, fonts loading, turn, sure, fine. Default loading, we'll get to that. But this is going to be loading. So what we should do is comment that out for now. Route loading, or we could just put this first and then remove initial route name, and then it would just be that. So loading container looks like that's what we need here. Nice to actually clean this up for once, or not for once. I mean, I guess for once, but we haven't done any of this cleanup here for a long time. So maybe not for once, but for all this time. Theme. What else did we have? Okay. Now this should will be here. Now when I open up, it'll just show the loading icon. Okay. Then what we need to do is move this guy. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to move this down some because we don't need to see much, but we do need the code. So bring this over here. We're working through loading. We need this use effect and everything that's in it. So that means that we need first current user. We need this. Install useref. Auth is going to be a Firebase package. We no longer need this or this. We'll get to that eventually. We are going to need user. Okay. I think all this stuff should be extracted out ideally into non-UI stuff. So we'll see how that looks. So handle logged in user, that's what that's well, I think this should be a thunk. And usually thunks for us pertain to like one for each slice. But I'm just going to create a loading thunk. It's more of like a use case, I guess. Copy this over because you don't have the blank option here. This is going to be load app data thunk. And we're going to get rid of this. We are going to wait. We have load data from mmkv, which is this big file up here. So I'm going to copy this into the thunk first. My goal at the moment is to move this stuff away from the UI. And I'm going to fix all the issues. Am I really doing that? This doesn't actually get called. That's so funny. Let's see if I can just import all, how that goes. All actions, good. Handle successful sign out. Don't have to worry about that at the moment. Really got to turn off my ring alerts because they're notifying me about everything. Like stuff that's happening in the neighborhood, which I get, which is nice, but okay. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to be fixed here. Current user.current. I think we have to pass the user here is what we got to do. Yeah. I don't know that we can load all info. User data. Okay. So we call load app data thunk. This is what we're calling. So we're going through here. If the user has no email, on success, okay, so if we try to retrieve that user, the thing for me though is that we can't. Oh, okay, this is from MMKV. Never mind. It's for an auto login situation. That's what we're doing. So the value is going to be inside of it. And that's not maybe fails, happens, but we shouldn't. It should always be in there. So get the user from Firebase. And I think we do want this. It's just that now we do an on error. Same thing, we do want this. It's just that now we do an on error. So we get user data. User data is just the new user dot data. So we're getting the most recent stuff in Firebase and using it locally. And the only thing we need to persist is we need to make sure it's not lost is kind of is if I'm looking at my device here and I'm drawing, I close the app. Well, at this point, everything is saved inside of Firebase. I open up my Pencil Bible account on another device. I make some annotations on some new chapters, which would make these two values inconsistent because user.chapter annotation IDs comes from local storage MMKV because I'm assuming that because I did an update in Firebase, I have the most recent stuff locally. This is going to be less than this, or less, unless I erase, obviously. But blah 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 blah. So we need to combine those two. So that's the only thing, and that's what this does. It's just a set helper, wrapper, whatever it is. Um, Everything else we can just default to whatever's in Firebase. It's all annotation config and all that stuff. This has nothing to do with like toolbar config, not annotation config, toolbar config, and should we show them a tutorial or not, and so we just don't need to worry about that at the moment. So we do have device ID, which I'm interested in where that actually comes from. So I'm gonna actually pause this for now. So this is just saying, yeah, this can be extracted out. No, we can't. User data, update user data. At least is something I did. Yeah, I thought it worked. User data. I don't know why email is. Oh, because this is the wrong user. That's why. Now it's not Liana. Okay. So this actually isn't getting ran because this needs to dispatch. I think that's maybe why I was running some issues when I was signing out. Okay, so device ID. So inside of the root navigator, we have a use effect, which is getting the device ID, setting it locally. Because why? Where we don't need to. Okay. So we're never using this. I'm not using this anymore. Get rid of this. The thing is that like we're updating the user here, but I think we're also updating the user here. So that just doesn't make sense. Because what's happening is when I open Pencil Bible on while signed in on my account, let's say this specific iPad on the screen, we're taking that device ID and adding it to the user document. What this is doing is when I open up the app on a separate device, it's going to say, wait a second, this device ID is different from the one that I've received from Firebase. Do you want to continue logging in, which would log them out and potentially lose all of the any unsaved progress? Let's say if they're offline on the original device. So if you want to continue, just be wary that you're going to lose a bunch of stuff. Or do you want to just not sign in at the moment? You go sign out there first, come back, and then when you sign out, it takes that ID and clears it. So that if I were to open the app on another device, that would get you. So that's what's happening here. The issue is that we're doing this here, and we're also doing this here. And in an auto login scenario, both of them are happening at the same time. So what I think needs to happen, and I don't know if we can actually await this. Maybe we can. Maybe this will work. So then we don't actually need this. We wouldn't need this either because we're doing it here. This would be login as well as auto login. So just login, I guess. So yeah, I don't know that we need these. We'll have to check. Let me write a ticket here. Oh wait, I feel like I remember it saying that it doesn't pass, but maybe it does. We'll see. We can test that a bit later. Subscription status ref. What are we using this for? Okay, so we should just be able to add a component premium this timer. So if you're a free user and you have the app open for 2 hours, after 2 hours, we show you a modal that says, "Hey, you might as well just cough it up. You obviously love this thing. Just pay up. It's cheap and at least try to make it affordable. I guess instead of cheap, but try to make it as affordable as possible. So that's what this is. A super minor thing, but sometimes people have it up. Bible study can take quite a long time. So to premium timer.tsx. So maybe we don't want this. Maybe we want something hook. Premium. Export costs use premium. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to close this because all I want to do is bring over the subscription status. So I'm pretty sure I can use effects here. Well, yeah, because we can use state, so I'd imagine it's the same. So we're gonna have subscription status ref, and I believe it's at least this what I'm about to say is consistent with stuff like Skia and the handlers. You can't with those handlers use like local state. Like I could do const subscript sub status, or you would think that I can do set sub status to be use state, but typically these like what are these functions called? Higher order functions, closures. They don't really maybe closures. They don't really work well with use state. So having a reference makes sure that like that specific spot in memory that is updated. And I'm sure this works in a similar way, but when you update a ref, it doesn't update the UI. When you update the state, it updates the UI. right? So there's clearly a difference there. So yeah. Okay, so what I need here is just these two. Now we need user doc. So I'm going to do const user equals use app selector selector state. This is going to be user. I'm going to do const dispatch equals use app dispatch. Files are always the same structure, same order. If I had navigation, I would do navigation in here. Const nav equals use navigation. We should have a use app navigation, but I just don't have that yet. We haven't done that yet in one of our projects. But afterwards, we have our use app selectors. Then we have our either probably our state mostly, use states, and then use refs after that. Sometimes we have use refs and use states throughout the file before we get to the UI part, which is not great for sure. So 2 hours, just unnecessary unnecessary extraction out, which I mean, it gets a calculation that's only done once. I don't know, it's actually just done once, but at least it's out. And I think this is all we need. And then we can get rid of this stuff for sure. Boom, 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 boom. And then we'll do use premium time. And it's going to run. If they're on the free subscription, then they're going to do it. Okay, so what we need though. Yeah, so when this timeout is started, when this timer is started, this 2 hour timer is started, um, user.email could be empty. It could be something else. It could be empty because user hasn't been updated yet by the time this is rendered, right? That's something that might not happen given the time that we it just might not happen. But better safe than sorry. Uh, and same for so yeah, and then if we try to just do this, like this value might also have changed, right? They opened the app, it was free, so this timer is going off. They purchased the subscription. Their subscription status is now changed to something like monthly or paid or lifetime, whatever it is. But when this timeout started, it was free. So it would still, if we use the local state here, the use state, it's not here, but the use state instead, which is what this is actually. We're not using like remember I did the sub status stuff? But we are using Redux, which is really the same thing, right? I'm sure there's difference, but in terms of behavior, when you update anything inside of Redux, it's just like Redux was just one big, massive, and efficient use state, just in many different use states, I guess. So, both of those things, when updated, re-render the UI again, which ref does not do. So yeah, this would have the old and stale values. So we do subscription status ref.current because it's always gonna have the most up-to-date value. And I'm pretty sure this is a synchronous, like updating this is synchronous as opposed to state, which is asynchronous. Saying again, state being both Redux as well as local use states. So yeah, that will clean that up. It's very nice actually. Okay, very cool. Doing cool things. So now we're back to here. We're not back to here. We're in here. So I think that should be good. Okay, so let's actually keep going with our pullout here. I don't know if I can say that or not. I'm just going to get rid of this because we have it over here, and I'm pretty confident that's going to work. Oh, so I'm on root on both, which I don't want. Current user dot current. So if there is an issue We should just be able to do user.email. Yeah, I put something in here. Here's Luigi. Something. Okay, so that's going to load all the MMKV stuff. And then we can do... And we'll probably extract this out some. Okay. So what we need up here is instead of this, we need dispatch load app data thunk. We're going to need const. So this is not true. Does not equal email. Well, we're just going to always load, I guess. Is that what we're doing? On success. Because when we get here, we're doing both of the things. So it's not really a fail. So we're going to, okay, we got a bunch of updates. This should be cool. I always love doing this for pencil out, honestly. Okay, so this here, this, we need an if statement. Do we though? Yeah, I think so. Because this is, yeah, I think, well, I don't know that this would go here. Sorry, gang. We're in here. Oh. See, this is where, like, I really do think GitHub Copilot could, like, really excel is, and I'm sure I can do this, I just haven't sat down and do it. So don't let me know if you see, if you know of anything, but, like, it should be able to, I do the code that I write, the code that we write, the projects, they're all the same, right? They come in the same order. Maybe I could define some rules or something like that, but like it should be able to know that like I have to hit like this should be dispatch because I just typed this. This should be dispatch, and maybe that's just not available yet, and that's okay. But that is the next level that improves my speed for sure. Okay. So we don't need this anymore. We don't need this. Okay. So if the current user, if there is a current user, and okay, let's do this first. Let's not worry about that. And I'm gonna have a start here. We need to handle when. Well, I just don't know that this is actually called after a login, right? Because the issue that we had was we would take them to Root Navigator, we would show the app. At this point, we take them to auth. Um, this use effect existed inside of Root Navigator. So when we are finished with logging in, which is inside of the auth stack, which is just um, inside of the root navigator where this use effect was, when we go from when we finish logging in or signing up, we are populating this user slice. That population is causing this use effect to rerun. Um, if we just had this, it would rerun. And maybe we can do this and then it never runs more than once. Maybe that's the solution. There are scenarios, or at least there used to be, maybe they fixed this, but there used to be scenarios where current user.current is null in the initial split second, split millisecond rendering of this file. But then almost instantly, there's a second render or run through where this now has a value. So I remember having to handle that in a messy way, a couple years ago, and I really haven't dug into it in a while. And we haven't really done we haven't done any new projects in a long time. So we haven't had to revisit that. But I'll be interested to see. I'll do a bunch of run throughs to see if in an auto login scenario, right? So I've created an account where I logged in, I close the app, when I open back up, we are now the user expects to be taken inside of the app and not have to, sign. Depending on the app, I guess. If you're doing like a security app, maybe you log in every time or something. But yeah, so I'll check that. But if the current user, if there is a current user, we do this. If not, do we need any of this stuff? No, I think we just take them to. I think what we should do, log session in Google Analytics, definitely. But we should just do once navigation equals use navigation root navigation prop. We're just going to do navigation dot navigate root routes dot auth, and this is going to take us to the playground mode. It's going to take us to select you'll see it's going to take us to the select Bible screen first, right? But it's going to take us to select book screen first, but then this is going to get there so that we can actually press this and get that image. We used to be able to swipe back because we didn't. Pencil Bible for the first 2 years was year and a half, 2 years probably was. I think we're coming up on year 3. We launched in March of 2022. So yeah, we just passed year 2. So yeah, really for the first 2 years, we had vertical swiping between chapters and books, right? So if I want to get to Genesis 2, I have to swipe down and go to the next. But now we have this, fancy book-like thing that would only be possible with the team at Margiela for sure. So definitely want to give some props to them. What was I doing? But yeah, you'll see. So we used to be able to swipe back, but now we cannot. But because we're doing this, what we can do is do screen root routes dot auth routes dot playground initial. Okay, let's see. Initial. There's a false somewhere. Navigation is an auth. Okay, so that's what we need. We need, which I don't know if we can do because auth navigation at this point is not a thing. But maybe it is. I just don't know that we're not in the auth navigation like context yet. But because loading it, I don't know why I did that big ass but let's back up. Because the loading screen is a sibling to auth navigation, I think it's already loaded. So, the auth navigation is already within the navigation container, navigator context. So I think we can access it. Pretty cool, at least. So this would be auth navigation, root routes.auth. Auth navigation.auth. No. See, we are within the login context, so we're in auth right now. It would be just regular navigation. We would be doing root routes.auth. Type at position 1 in source is not compatible with type at position 1 in target. Does it not like it? Oh, wait a minute. I think I got it. I think it just doesn't like it, but it works. Which is great for me. Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. There's a cycle import summary. This is all Firebase stuff. But this error, I think, is this error here. There's an error that causes, maybe we just got to update package and that's what it does, which you can't do at this moment. But something is firing unhandled promise rejection. So I have to find out what error is causing, what error is happening. And then with this is just a React Native issue. Like I said, I think is fixed by updating the package, updating React Native, but different story. This error that's showing, this error message, it will show regardless of what bug, what error is thrown, and not handled. It's just always the error that happens plus this, right? It's never just this. Maybe it could be, but not really. So I don't know what is causing that. I mean, it's definitely it's probably actually using this. Type screen auth routes is not assignable to type undefined. Okay. So I think this is yelling at me because auth here doesn't have like what what type is this? Params is undefined. Args. So where's the second? There's no commas. Paramless space. Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna give us much. Initial. It's like I said, it's working. It's just not liking it. TypeScript is not liking it. Or I wonder if names. Navigate method lets us navigate to another screen in your app. Navigate to the profile. Okay, so this is passing this. What in order to do this, all we would have to do is get into here, not here. Go to here. Inside of here, we have to do names string. Right, so we're saying when we pass, and then when we go to auth, we are passing this. And I feel like what would honestly stop it from yelling at us is if we just did screen, which is a string, and then initial, which is a boolean, and then it would stop yelling at us. Yeah, we just, and maybe that's all. Maybe that's all we need to break, establish some rules to break some rules. Oh, I mean that looks good. That's beautiful. But the error happens on that button press. We need to handle when uh, we need to check if current is no when it shouldn't be. I.e. on the very first rendering of this use effect. Okay. See, I can get rid of all this stuff. That's nice. And we still have to do we still have to do the QA on it, right? So we're not in the clear yet. Handle successful sign out. When was this being called? Nowhere? Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's what that is. Why do we need to force update? We need to force update for some reason. I think it would have to do with some of the references. So I'm going to take that out and we'll see. We'll see how this does. I just don't think we need any of these things. We definitely don't need this because it's not being called anymore. Handle successful timeout. Maybe we got to use handle successful timeout here. Yes, we do. So I need this. I just need this over here. Navigation ref. I don't need navigation ref. Can we do something? Navigation ref. I handle successful sign out. This is why would we need this? I don't know that we're setting current user to be null, but current user is no longer used in here. And even if it was used in here, it's just gonna we're gonna be navigating when we sign out, we're gonna be navigating to a new stack of auth. So everything's gonna be blank anyway. So it's gonna do like it's gonna do like what I mean to say, it's gonna do like a fresh recheck and repopulation of current user, which is just auth.current user, right? So this is gonna essentially run again to make sure that it's there. If there is in that, yeah, we just don't. We're doing all this stuff in the root navigator before, which is why we needed it. So I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna do the things. Loading. We don't need this. Okay, we can also. Sorry. Back to that. Don't need this. Okay, so that takes us here. We got that. We got that. Open this up. Takes us right to it. We can swipe back. We'll click on this. That takes us to here. That'll take us to 6th. Nice. Very, very cool. Very cool. Okay, so what is next? So that's good. That fixed the ghost reading. Let's go ahead and sign in. I don't think anything shows. Okay, so I got to work on that flow definitely. And maybe that's the last video that I do is work on that flow. But if I now go to auto login, this should all work. Or at least up to the part that I'm expecting. Should, like I said. Oh, I don't have a success. That's why I have an on error or an on success. Okay, so on successful app load, we're gonna throw built-to-load app data, just so that it just goes down to the next part. Yeah. But on success, we're gonna do really the same thing. It's just instead of root routes.auth, we're going to root routes.bible, we're going to do auth routes. We're going to do main routes dot reader. It's going to be initial false. That's going to go ahead. I'll get to that in a second. What we need to go here is do the same exact thing. So it's going to stop yelling at us here. This is going to go to the main stack, where the main stack has an initial screen of select book. So it'll do the same exact thing. So if I go here, it should also be fine. That's nice. We wouldn't want to show this anymore, so I'll fix that. Oh, but wait a minute. Just take note that the actual arrow is there. I didn't know that. probably just get rid of the arrow. But nonetheless, there we go here. Yeah, so we're all good. Nice. I think I got rid of the ghost screen. That's awesome. That's been something that's been plaguing us for 2 years since the beginning. Was that damn ghost screen? And now there's that ghost screen, right? You saw it. When I click on this, we see Bible. Let's say I go back to the reader. Right now, this is the most recent on the stack. I open up this drawer. We're not changing the stack. We're just opening up the side navigation. So when I press on Manage Bibles, right, this is an action, a user action that should execute right away. There is no loading that should happen with this. There should no loading at all after the initial app load because Pencil Bible is offline first. Now, when switching Bibles, that's we were afforded the luxury of we have the luxury of taking a second or two to load all the annotations, but that should also be a very quick process. And with the implementation of SQLite that Christian has been working on, it should be very quick. So manage Bibles, you'll see the ghost screen underneath because as we're closing the drawer, we are navigating to the manage Bible screen. Um, so yeah, and that's just, you see the nav comes in and it's just not that great. So Aaron is working through some, Aaron's been working on just a brand new design to Pencil Bible. Not completely different, but there's a lot of, we've been working like over 2 years, close to 2.5 years, or approaching 2.5 years, and in like 2 months. Just a lot of things that are clear that can be improved on the UI side, UX side. So like he's going to do this whole new thing, which I'm excited about. So yeah, I think the auto login is pretty solid now. Our root navigator is so much smaller. Like look what it was before. Our root navigator before was 270 lines, and it was doing all of the data. It was doing the Firebase authentication check. It was doing some device ID checking, and then it was also doing the actual loading from MMKV. It was signing out if it needed to, and yeah, I think we'll just make a bunch of improvements to this. We've already made a bunch of improvements, so we can go ahead and keep doing that. The all unused imports. Playground title. Okay, I'm not going to worry about getting into this and clean this up. I will do that at the end. I still think we're going to do a decently sized refactor of the code right at the end. And then one final test to make sure that all the things are in the right place. We're just, pushing forward with progress today. So yeah, appreciate your watching. Yeah, yes.